start the recording, please? Oh, awesome. Thank you. Christ is risen. Alleluia. Alleluia. This week, I reached out to my Dean David from One Spirit, AndreaGrace Seminary. I wanted to share my spiritual journey, the wonder at how God is at work in my life, how God has prepared me so well for today, how I'm moving through death and experiencing new life. Dean David's email signature has a quote from W.B. Yeats. "The world is full of magic things, patiently waiting for your senses to grow sharper." We have that on a slide. Can it come up? Is that too complicated? Too complicated? Okay. Let me repeat it for you. The world is full of magic things, patiently waiting for your senses to grow sharper. Isn't that so beautiful? Oh, there it is. Dean David and I marveled at how we were both raised as Italian Catholics and how our spirituality has deepened and expanded. We reflected on the people like his grandmother, my Uncle Al, and my Aunt Erminia, who brought us to Mass when we were little. How Holy Week was full of practices that opened us to the mystery of life. How without their words, by bringing us to church with them and continuing the traditions in their homes, our beloveds invited us to experience the mystery of God who is, the mystery of what God is. By our very presence with the statues, the beautiful stained glass, the candles, the smells, the silence in our churches and our homes, our senses were open to the divine, and our senses did, in fact, grow sharper over time. In St. Paul's letter to the Romans, we heard God's invisible qualities, resurrection power, and divine nature have been known and seen throughout what God has made through creation itself. All we have to do is open ourselves to it. The theme of our readings expanded our understanding of this mystery: birth, envisioning covenantal life, devastation and restoration, and the emerging dance. We see this in the new seedling that rises up, which Michelle picked out for tonight's Mass. By its very nature, it knows how to reach through the ground towards the light. There's a picture of it. Can that come up too? I'm giving our AV team a big workout tonight. It's so pretty, isn't it pretty? By its very nature, it knows how to reach through the ground towards the light. It is nourished in part by the autumn leaves that fell in the previous season and were transfigured into nutrients. Its very life emerged from the devastation of a seed falling from a branch and breaking open. And in the restoration, the new tree has risen up. It dances with the air to provide oxygen. In time, it will dance with the two-legged and four-legged creatures to provide shade, shelter, beauty, and more, in continuing the circle of life. We are the same. Each of us contains this amazing holy mystery, and each of us rises. We rise physically from the eggs in our mother's womb to this amazing, intricate body, who we are. We grow and change in our relationships. Remember what it was like when you first met your partner or your best friend, and how over time that person rose to have such an important part in your life and in your heart. In our lifetimes, we have experienced devastation, loss, betrayal, endings, illness, and yet we rise. We are here today. We have danced both literally and figuratively. Jesus was the same. He was fully human and fully divine. At Christmas, we celebrated the birth of God in a human form. St. Luke tells us that Jesus grew in wisdom and grace, his divine nature. He gave us divine vision of what life can be like here on earth, and he gave us resurrection power, the ability to rise from devastation we have known, be it physical, like hemorrhaging, or social, like being an outsider, or spiritual, like being tormented by that which blocks us from the peace of God. In God's kingdom, both here and in the afterlife, we experience freedom through restoration, new life, living with our eyes focused on the new law of love and justice. In God's kingdom, we are in communion. We are one with one another and with God. In this kingdom, the first shall be last, and the last are first. The leader serves. Each of us has a vital, life-giving part in this dance of creation. We are nurtured and we give birth in countless ways. We bear the fruit of the Spirit: love, peace, joy, gentleness, kindness, and more. The early church members were called followers of the way. The way is a way of living in our divine nature with resurrection power. It is a way that trusts in hope, trust in the divine to bring forth new life out of devastation of any sort. Devastation and restoration, Jesus warned his followers he would die and rise up. He became human to show us a way. Whom did he choose to share this important message with? Mary Magdalene. It's one of the only details about Jesus' life that all four Gospels agree on. The empty tomb was first witnessed by Mary Magdalene. And woefully, that part of the Gospel is omitted on Easter Sunday in the lectionary used by many of the mainstream Christian churches. Pope Francis has restored Mary Magdalene's ancient title of apostle to the apostles. Why might Jesus have shared the miraculous resurrection with Mary Magdalene? We read that 7 demons came out of her and that Jesus healed her. She was not a prostitute. In that healing, Mary Magdalene experienced resurrection power to express her divine nature. Her heart spoke freely with Jesus' heart. She believed in him, and she provided for him, along with Joanna, Susanna, and many other women. She understood Jesus and was open to his divinity. Truly, Christ was her light that illuminated her life. So what about you and me? This celebration tonight begins the Easter season, which continues for the next 50 days. So I invite you in this season to formally commit to being open to God in all its mysteries, to practice contemplation, sharing your heart with God, to prayerfully ponder how you have experienced devastation and new life in small and big ways, to decide how you will spend your time, on which community and cause you will invest, and to spend time joyfully creating, however you wish. My prayer for each of us and all of us in this beloved, inclusive Catholic community, which includes each person here, each person in our Zoom room, is that we will be more open to this God, whom I know is holy mystery, creating goodness. May we hope and trust in the risen Christ. May he touch us, transfigure and transform us in new ways, so that we may experience more freedom to live in our divine nature. May we joyfully join the emerging dance of peace and wholeness. May Christ be our light, and may our divine light shine more brightly. Alleluia, alleluia. Please stand for the